What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull Up Show. My name is BJ Matthews, aka B. Just before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Like, share, subscribe all of our YouTube videos. Hit the like button as y'all come in here. Hit the share, hit the subscribe as well. Hit the Cash App right here, which is $ BJ Matthews. Again, $ BJ Matthews right on the below. You guys want to show your love to the podcast, you know what I'm saying, for this great content. Make sure y'all go to our Cash App. I will put the link right outside of this video in the chat box. Y'all can click the link to go ahead, you know what I'm saying, show your love to the podcast. And as well as get your membership badges that are available as well. But let's get into it, man. We are back with another show, another, small episode. Um, we're going to be talking about SGA, man, of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Point guard, one of the young bright stars in the NBA right now. SGA for a lot of purpose, like he's been pretty much doing his thing in the World Cup. If you guys do not know, he just beat Luka Doncic, Slovenian team, the other day, which now they've advanced to the semifinals. I believe who they're playing against, I'm not sure, but they will be in the semifinals. I think they're playing. I think is it. Dang, who are they playing? I think it's Latavia. I think that's the name of the country that will be playing. But nonetheless, they just beat Luka Doncic. And SGA outshined Luka. The reports, I think SGA had like around 30 points. Luka got ejected in the second half, and Canada just seemed to be, like play behind him. Dylan Brooks, I'm saying, like crew and company, they were able to, rally behind SGA. And SGA is one of them type of players, man, who, kind of came up out of nowhere. Because for those that do not know, SGA, this is his going on his sixth season. He's been in the NBA for 6 years. He came in 2018 in the draft with the LA Clippers. He was traded to the LA Clippers for Paul George in that trade, that mega trade deal to get PG to come to the Clippers. They had to give away SGA. If we look at his statistics, the past 5 seasons, this is what he's averaged. Points, rebounds, and assists, how many games he's played, minutes, all that stuff in the years he played. He played in 5 seasons. This is his numbers. Now, if we look closely at the games played, the only season where he was kind of out was in 2020, 2021, which that was the season where the OKC Thunder probably had their worst record. 21-22, they had a pretty, bad record as well. But this past year, he played 68 games, and they got to the 10th seed. They won playing a game against the New Orleans Pelicans. They lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves in the second playing game. But OKC's trending up. They're not trending down. They got some, pieces on that team now. They picked up Chet Holmgren in the first round draft, the first pick of the draft. He was hurt last year with the foot injury. They have Josh Giddey. They have Lou Dort. They have the Williams brothers. They got some good pieces. A lot of young players, a lot of young talent. And I believe SGA is the oldest player they have at 25 years old. So what do we know about SGA? Well, what I know about SGA, my opinion about him is he's somebody that brings a number of things. First of all, SGA is 6'6" as a point guard, quote unquote point guard. He is, extremely over, size at the point guard position. About probably 90 something, 96, 97% of his matchups, he will be the tallest person out of those matchups. So that's an advantage he has. Another advantage he has very long arms. He's able to get in passing lanes. He gets in, deflections. He gets his hands on a lot of, loose balls and things of that nature. So he's not just an offensive guru. He's a very, very good defensive player, tough-nosed defensive player, very smart defensive player, very active as well. Not the most athletically gifted, but he makes up with that because of his size. See, he's not like a Ja Morant, who he's undersized and he has to use his athleticism to give him a chance and give him somewhat of a even playing field. He can just simply just use his length to make it hard for defenses to really do anything with him. Do you understand? So When I look at a guy like SGA, he has a lot of things going for him, and as well, um, he seemed like he has a very, very, calm demeanor. Um, he's not the most rowdiest guy. He doesn't go out there, what I'm saying, talking a lot of trash. He just goes out there and plays his game. I remember seeing like a little article I just read, like, I think a few days ago, talking about how the people around him keeps him very, very grounded. It's always been like that. He doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. He stays an even kill. You can just tell in his game, that's how he is, how he moves, his feel of the game. He doesn't ever feel rushed. Um, Simple, key basketball. Now, there's been some talk about SGA right now. The buzz about SGA, the hype about SGA is, he's the guy who's next and he's already top 10. I've heard some people say he's already top 10. Um, they're saying, but like the Masters are saying top 15, but I've seen some people say top 10. Oh, SGA, he's next. He's, better than this guy. He's better than that guy. I'll take him over this person. Right. Now, I just said I like SGA's game and I like his demeanor and his playing style. But we have to keep things in perspective. Now, when we look throughout the entire NBA, first thing we got to look at when people say he's already top 10. First of all, top 10 players do a few things. Number one, top 10 players do not miss the playoffs. Now, I know people are going to be like, well, look at SGA's team and look how young they are. This, da, da, da. Let me give y'all an example. The only season the OKC Thunder made the playoffs with SGA there in his 4 seasons there was not 2019 and 2020 in the bubble. Now, what happened that season? How did they make the playoffs? What was going on that season? Well, they picked up NBA Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer, and point player Chris Paul. Um, Chris Paul was able to lead that OKC team to the fifth seed in the Western Conference, with a bunch of young players on that team. I think Dennis Schroeder was on that team. SGA was on that team, a very big piece. He averaged 19 points during the season. I think he averaged 15.6 in the playoffs. So he was definitely a key component. But because of the presence of Chris Paul, that was the first time they got that far in the Western Conference, and they took the Rockets at the time, who had James Harden, Russell Westbrook, to 7 games. But that's what a top 10 player can do for any team. They can automatically uplift your team, their performance. And SGA has not been able to do that the last 2 seasons, right? So that's why I can't put him in that top 10. Hell, even top 15 players. If you go through the top 15 players, if you go onto any list, or, I mean, just off your list in your own mindset, and you truly think of the top 15 players, tell me how many of them are missing the playoffs. Tell me how many of them are the temp seed. Tell me how many of them are, not, in the picture. Luka Doncic was a very, very sensitive, exception, because, he had him as the 4th seed until Kyrie came. And we've seen Luka Doncic year in and year out take that Mavericks team to the playoffs. So he's already improved and he can, rally his team. But look at that top 10, top 15 list, and I guarantee you none of them are missing the playoffs. Right. Um, so now that we take care of that, do you think that is the SGA hype real or is it fake? I see a lot of this SGA. Um, I see a lot of this SGA hype is very similar to John Morant. What happened in 20? What you call it? I see a lot of hype that SGA got, John Morant got. He had a lot of the same hype. You know what I'm saying? Saying that he was going to be a player that can um, come in and, take over and, be the top guy. People were saying John Morant was the top 10 player in the NBA at the time. And y'all, hold on one second. Okay. Um, sorry about that. John Morant, if y'all don't remember, had a lot of same buzz going into this past season actually. And I was never a big fan of John Morant. I never really looked at his game and said, okay, that's going to be a top 10 player. Not because I had anything personal against him, it's the fact that his game just to me doesn't translate to top 10 play. I didn't like his personality, I didn't like his cockiness. I'm all big for the confidence, but when you start talking about teams who, you hadn't even reached over, um, you haven't even got over yet. You haven't got over the hump yet, and you calling teams out and saying that you're better than this team, you're better than that team. I thought it got a little bit annoying, and I've never been really keen to those type of players who just sit around talking. That's never been somebody I really, had a lot of, really cared for. I didn't care for people with that type of personality. I always was big on you just playing your game and letting your game do the talking. So when people say John Moran was this, John Moran was that, I was looking across the league and I said, okay, well, what about Trey Young? What about De'Aaron Fox? What about you know what I'm saying, now SGA? What about this player? What about these other players? What about Donovan Mitchell? They have people saying John Morant was over Donovan Mitchell. I'm like, bro, Donovan Mitchell beat John Morant his second season of his career anyway. Or was it second or was it his third? Yeah, second season. And Donovan was in his fourth. But these are the type of people John Morant was getting just the hype over. And I wasn't really cool with that. Now, if he had more of a humble approach to the game, I probably would have been a little bit more keen to being accepting of it. But even then, you got to put things in perspective. So I'm seeing a lot of the same stuff that Ja got SGA is getting now, but I think the hype for SGA is more appropriate. First of all, like I tell y'all again, I played basketball through high school, college, overseas, pro, all that stuff. So there are certain things even a box score can't tell me that I can already see. There's certain things that analysts don't have to tell me that I already can see. There's certain things that I don't need anybody to, what I'm saying, try to relate to me for me to know, just based off of my feel as a player. So when I'm watching these players play in these games and stuff like that, I tend to be very, very accurate about my predictions. Um, One prediction I have going right now is I feel Anthony Edwards, and I said this last year, was going to be the best player in the league in the next 4 seasons. Now you see a lot of people talking about Anthony Edwards. He's doing what he's doing with the Olympic team. They're talking about him possibly being the top 10 or 15 player next season. I was calling this out last year, but that's just, again, because go back to my field. When I look at a guy like SGA, listen, this dude has the skill set. He has the composure. He has the mentality of a dog. He has the mindset to play both ways of the basketball. He's a great two-way player, and I think he has a quiet killer in him, and he's very grounded. So when you're very grounded like that, the hype won't get to your head. You won't see what happened to John Morant happen to SGA. You won't see him, getting some success and it gets to his head and he starts acting out. You're not going to see that from him. So I think the attention SGA is getting, I think the hype is real. I think he's a franchise player. I think SGA is definitely a franchise player. He's a franchise talent. Um, I think he has all the tools. And he has to do, though, he has to get the OKC Thunder to the playoffs. To get the true respect he deserves, he has to get that team to the playoffs. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, because I can say all day I truly believe in this game, but I mean the fact of the matter is he's gonna have to prove that in the postseason. He's gonna have to show in the postseason, like, hey, I'm one of the top, if not the best point guard in the league. And I think personally SGA feels like he can be that. I think he has that mindset. I think he has that determination that no one can do nothing with him on the court. He already has 3-4 inches over the majority of opponents he deals with. So that size he has over the opponents he deals with, that's an advantage. So I think personally, he don't feel like there's nothing that no one can really do with him to really do like guard him and play against him, play up against him. So he's going to these series is very confident. These matchups very confident. When he faces a De'Aaron Fox or a Trae Young or a Ja Morant or a Steph Curry or Damian Lillard or Kyrie Irving or Luka Doncic or um uh whoever it is, he's very going there very confident, right? So um I like him a lot. I look at him as a top 15, 20 player right now. And that's only because of the respect I have for the guys in front who've made it to the playoffs and who have been consistent. When SGA, the moment he makes it to the playoffs and he's able to eliminate a team like Dallas, which I think they're very capable of doing, I'll give SGA all the respect in the world. Because I know he's going to average, if they do beat Dallas or to beat a team like that, he would have averaged about 30 points. So that's the only thing. He has to get that team to the playoffs. And then from there, then he can, you know what I'm saying, start riding his legacy. But he's still got so much time. He's only 25 years old. So we'll have to see. But let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Y'all think SGA is a top 10 player, top 15, top 20? Do y'all think the hype is real with SGA? Do y'all think it's too premature? Let me know what y'all think. Until next time, respectfully say, pull up a seat, pull up a chair, put a lot, peace, out of here like swimwear.